It's Wednesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. White in the building. How you doing today?
I'm fine. Before I rant, I love your Adire. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
I noticed it when you got out of the car and I thought, oh wow, this is lovely.
Thank you.
I said, I wouldn't compliment you before, I would compliment you on the show.
Thank you.
So now let me rant.
What happened, Mikey? Yeah, yesterday's traffic.
No, I didn't enter yesterday's traffic. You know, we were at this side of town. I went to a supermarket in Ikeja, a major supermarket in Ikeja yesterday. I don't know whether election will have work next week or anything. Let me buy food down.
Yes.
So that's how I went and I bought food. Then, there's time to pay. I got to the counter, POS not the work.
Oh, man.
So, POS not the work, no problem.
Transfer.
They said, okay, that POS on that side. We are do, what they call it? Talk back, abi, reserve, abi. They are sending it to that one, so I will go and pay there. So I went there to pay. There are people there who were queuing. Then, and because they have transferred it from that counter to this one, you know, they have to do it immediately, so they don't lose the transaction. Then one man started shouting. Of course, when I put my card, you know, work. One old man was like, look, these people, they know that their cards are not working, they'll just come here. Look, we have cash. The man was ranting, go.
Yes, cash.
They come there, these Nigerians, they are just fake people coming with fake cards.
Who is this person? The person fell from heaven.
He was just shouting on the line. Meanwhile, cards, no go. So they said, come with your card. They took me to another place. QR code. I went QR code. The thing just went.
It didn't work.
It's that Orange Bank, just did.
Orange Bank is not working for one.
It did not go.
It's not working for
Luckily, I had another card with money inside.
Yes.
Another bank.
That one will probably work.
No, it didn't work the first time.
But it worked the second time.
But it worked the second time. Yes. After I had stayed there for like 30 minutes, one man was complaining, I've been here for more than 1 hour. That one too was trying to use POS. Queue!
Everybody's
queue! Guess what?
What?
When I woke up this morning,
they had debited. They have debited you. How many times did they do that?
Just once.
Okay. You still go and, of course.
You go back there today.
Where will I go?
Go to the bank.
I have to go.
You have to go to the bank. You have to go to the bank.
Then, so I tried to enter that same app, the Orange Bank, to check whether the debits
will be reversed,
reflected in my. Now it not reopen.
Okay. So you know, after the show today, go to the Orange Bank. The queues are long, no doubt, but you can get there. Or next time, when you come very early in the morning, just get somebody to help you queue. Get a number for you. So when you're after the show, you just go and enter the bank. That's how you enter bank now.
Seriously?
Get somebody to line up for you.
And you pay the person.
You can't. I mean, you just to send something, so you can enter the bank. Well, let us hear from the Supreme Court today. So we're going to hear. Hopefully, things will go back to normal.
If you want to do something, at least do it well now. Why are you suffering us like this?
You don't have the technical know-how to strengthen the systems we have currently, and we're not able to accommodate the numbers.
Yes, we're not ready for
cashless. Affecting phone lines.
Yeah.
Now you can't.
Like it's not affecting phone lines.
How many people have you tried to phone that you will not get?
I don't know about that one.
Me, my phone. Every time it says you don't have enough. What does it say? Data or credit to make this call, and then I'll still make my call. I have credit, but it must say that message first. Yes. So I'm like, everything is confusing. I'm fine. Yesterday I had a good time. I did a book reading at Greenwood House School in Ikoyi.
Oh, nice.
Very. I had a fantastic time with the children. So for me, you know, when I go to these schools, it's also a way to sort of get a peek into how the school is run, by how the children respond to me. These children were so engaging, asking questions, really intelligent questions. And I'm talking of primary school students, pupils. And it just says a lot. And, you know, I've been thinking maybe I should be some sort of is it go-to person to give parents who are looking for schools. Like,
You've been to a few schools
yeah, I've been to a
recently.
few schools, and I can tell you a little, from what I see. And it shows that this school, they're encouraging their children to speak up. And for me personally, I think it's the way to go. Let's allow our children ask questions. And one thing is when they ask questions, they become more confident when you're able to give them responses. And these children become, even when they grow older, they are more confident adults because you've always allowed them to express themselves. Some questions may sound silly, but always that idea of having a child being able to speak up and engage is important.
Good.
And
That's
yeah,
good
I had a
feedback
good,
for them.
yeah, it is. Well done, very well-run school.
I know Greenwood very well, and I think that
Yeah,
I'm
I've heard
happy
of
they
it.
both to.
I've heard of it.
They've run the legacy even after the original owner passed. I think they've done a good job in continuing that legacy. I know
And that's the most important, is
Yes,
the legacy.
legacy.
The school, the continuity.
Continuity is
It's
very
continuity.
Yeah.
This country, continuity.
My stepchildren went to that school and they're in their 20s.
yeah. Let's go.
Just like hospital, sorry.
Let's go on a break. It's
Oh.
Wednesday, midweek, and we're almost. An election is creeping in gradually in next few days. Hopefully, they'll let us rest.
Maybe they will even do Nigeria decides in TVC and
Hopefully,
give
let's
us
go on a break.
tomorrow.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, we're going to start with The Nation. Colorful roadshow draws curtains on Tinubu's campaign. Buhari says, I congratulate the next president. Crowds cheer APC candidate riding on open vehicle from Airport Road to Oshodi, Mushin, Ojuelegba, Agege, and to the stadium. Naira crisis. States file contempt action against Malami and Emefiele. Wike, Rivers knows who to vote for as president. Only loses again. Okay, which story? And we have uncovered plots to cause civil unrest on poll day, says NSA. Okay, which story are we starting with in Nation? Should I start with Governor Wike? Governor Wike of Rivers State has said voters in Rivers State know who to vote for. He said, however, he did not come to campaign for any particular contender. The electors have adopted the choice of their own presidential candidate. He said, I hope you all have your PVCs. Oh. On that day, first go and keep your PVC under your pillow. Keep it well. Oh. So on that day, 6:30 in the morning, you wake up, go and pepper them. Go and pepper.
I heard that.
Said, by 6:30 in the morning on Saturday, make sure you are at your various polling units and use your PVC and pepper them. Help us pepper and use those wicked people that we don't want to vote for. We don't know who he's talking to, but he has told his people to pepper them. Who are they peppering him? That his people know who to vote for. And that he would not say more than that.
I watched it and then the DJ played Pepper there immediately. It was so funny. Okay, I have the Kaduna Kogi Zamfara urge Supreme Court to jail Malami and Emefiele. And they say these states are making moves to jail the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, SAN, and the Central Bank of Nigeria, Governor Godwin Emefiele, for alleged contempt. The states were said to have initiated the contempt proceedings against the two at the Supreme Court. And this is for their failure to comply with the order extending the February 10 deadline for the use of old 200, 500, and 1,000 notes. Everything else is, legalese, as they say, going back and forth. Finally, it just says that, the court had joined the Attorneys General of Katsina, Lagos, Cross River, Ondo, Ogun, Ekiti, and Sokoto states as co-plaintiffs. So more states have joined, while Edo and Bayelsa were joined as co-respondents. And a few other states will be, including Abia, may also join as co-plaintiffs today. So I guess we'll be hearing today what the Supreme Court and government side will be saying to this.
All right, so yesterday, Lagos State was practically shut down as the presidential flag bearer for the APC and his vice presidential running mate, Senator Kasim Shettima, were in Lagos with Governor Sanwo-Olu, and where the President Muhammadu Buhari raised their hands and wishing them the best in the coming elections. He says that he wishes Lagos the best, he wishes APC the best. And he said, I have honor to raise the hands of the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the governor of Lagos State. They were there also with other governors and members of the APC, and they drove in through the Oshodi, Mushim, they went through Agege, Ojuelegba, and then finally at the Testing Balogun Stadium, where they met with the mammoth crowd and they're cheering on. And it was an interesting event, but I'm happy that a lot of negotiations were not stranded because we were given that pre-knowledge. Everybody schools were practically having online. Some schools even did close yesterday, and people just stayed away. So at least the entire area was free for the supporters to attend.
Yeah, I wanted to take the NSA have, they said they have uncovered a plot to...
Because civil unrest.
Yes, during the elections. They raised it yesterday at a meeting with the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security. That it was hosted by INEC. He said that some subversive elements are trying to use the currency brouhaha to create unrest during the elections. That they are going to deal with everybody decisively.
Please,
So
we want
please,
free,
we want.
please,
All right.
violence-free elections for all of us.
The Punch. Naira crisis. Cash-strapped Nigerians bank on Supreme Court as hearing resumes today. Organ harvesting. I reported a query matter to police, says victim. Anambra killings. Panel begins on-site assessment. IG rejigs RRS. I'll work for Nigeria as Buhari work for me, says Tinubu. 5 police chiefs posted to rivers. CPs redeployed. And police Amotekun nab suspects with fake notes. Okay.
Let me take that. Police and Amotekun have nabbed suspects with fake notes. The operatives of Ekiti Amotekun Corps have arrested a man identified as Celestine with false new 1,000 naira notes amounting to about 250,000 naira. Well, Celestine, who says he's an Anambra State-born and Lagos-based businessman, was traveling from Lagos to Kogi State, to Isalu in Kogi State, to buy cola nut and bitter cola when he was arrested with the fake new naira notes. He says he's a victim of circumstance. He had done business with someone in Lagos who paid him with this cash, and that was how he was in possession of the money. And he has tried, while he was arrested, tried to reach out to this client of his, and the client is not responding to him. So we'll see how far the investigation goes, if it truly that was the case, and who they would
What I wanted
arrest.
to say here is that, you see, this lack of currency is creating a vacuum. The world, nature abhors vacuum. So once there is this vacuum, of course, the people who do fake currency will do the fake currency.
That's true, but we also know that we have people who will take advantage of any situation anyway.
They will take advantage.
Fake currency exists
Look,
anyway.
I run a cash business. We are not getting cash. That is, by the way. But even when we were in the old currency, we hardly ever got fake of the old money because it was there.
Yeah.
It was there. So these ones are capitalizing on,
on this. But also in Kebbi State, 3 people suspects have been arrested for having possession 17 million naira in fake currency. 17 million naira. So now, you know what I'm thinking, in Kebbi, they've been arrested, investigations are going on. Their names are Farouk Zubairu, Ibrahim Musa, and Salis Muhammad. But, you know, you remember that video of the bandits flashing naira notes? Do we know if they were real naira notes or fake naira notes? You know?
And you see, they will come and meet us here in Lagos because they will distribute it all around Nigeria. It's too much. It's too much. 17 million?
17 million? When did they even sit down to come out?
Yeah. Which story are you
So I was going to take the major headline. The Supreme Court hearing resumes today. Many of us have been waiting for the Supreme Court to uphold its judgment of extending the deadline from February 10th onwards. The president of the Bank of Customers Association, Dr. Uju Ogubunka, was saying that they believe that the court should uphold its earlier ruling. If not, we'll just mess up the supremacy of the judiciary. He says that when you have a Supreme Court take a decision and we turn around and disobey it, what we're saying is that it's not best for the nation and it portends ill wind. No one can stop when it starts to blow. He says that we believe that the Supreme Court will uphold. So we're hoping that by the end of today, we get a message from the Supreme Court that they uphold the fact that you must extend the deadline for returning the naira notes to the bank. The expectations are small businesses, as we said earlier, are really being affected, especially those in the informal sector, are having issues with cash. So a lot is dependent on today's Supreme Court ruling, and we hope that indeed they will uphold their judgment.
Even if the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court, they extended it. Didn't the president overturn it?
Yeah.
So according
who is
to
going to
ignored it.
According to what Fashola has said,
it.
Fashola was saying that he didn't necessarily disobey. He was just trying to find a palliative because yes, while the case is in court, in the meantime, while we're waiting for the Supreme Court, as a president, I have the responsibility to ensure that things are eased. That's why I now said take 200 back into the circulation while we wait for the
200, when there was money, the 200 was not plenty outside.
Hopefully,
so how many are they going to put?
I have to go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. Waiki had a story.
Yes.
About the story you're going to take.
The story was about Ekwere Madu, the court case. The child is not a child. It has been deceased.
Daughter.
The boy. No. The boy testified in court yesterday. And, I mean, he said he didn't know. But the story was very, he said he didn't know that they were taking him for organ harvesting, but they gave him money.
Okay.
So they gave him 1.2 million naira. He said he was going there to work, but why did they give you 1.2 million naira if you were going there to work? He says...
It was disjointed.
It's very disjointed. He said the hospital had said they don't need his kidney, so he now ran away from the hospital. The hospital had said they don't know, so why did you run? And they ran to the police station.
So it wasn't even a match. It wasn't
a match, which is...
Well, no, of course, we heard that since. It wasn't a match. But we're just trying to confirm, at least from the story.
He was aware
he was aware, but he's trying to say he wasn't aware, but then he was giving money for something. So did you ask them what the money was for? I guess they would figure out who's telling the truth.
It's his first time in England. He had been sleeping outside for 3 days.
Let's move on to another paper. Story. Daily Sun, heavy security at INEC offices. We are following events in Nigeria closely, says United Kingdom. Ohaneze, ACF, NEF want FG to guarantee citizens' safety. Naira Swap APC governors file contempt suit against Malami and Emefiele. NLC asks INEC on transparent electoral process. NYSC gives core members security tips on election offices. Gunmen set woman ablaze, raise homes of 2 commissioners' DSS office in Imo. An article to Wiki, you are chicken hiding under costume of a lion. Yeah? I didn't even realize.
God.
Okay, I would like to believe you have that story.
You trust me. That's the kind of story I know.
All right, tell us.
What
said that article said it through his who was it? One of his people, his special assistant on public communications, Frank Shaibu. He said that
you quote.
Yes, he's reacting to Wike's jibes over the cancellation of Atiku's presidential rally. He says, even the dead know that APC can never win in Rivers State. Wike cannot deliver his polling units to Tinubu. He is aware of this, and that is why he is not bold enough to come out with his full chest to ask for people to support Tinubu. Rather, he is chasing shadows, making innuendos. At least, former Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amici, was man enough to dump PDP for APC in 2015 and openly campaign for Muhammadu Buhari against Jonathan. Say, Wike, he presents this facade of courage, but is actually a lily-livered and small-minded person.
Wow.
Hence, his results to the judiciary to protect him from the PDP, from being expelled from the PDP. Say, if the PDP leadership had, I can't say that word, on TV, they should expel him after making statements.
Is this from this article scam?
Yes.
They abuse him well.
Hey,
Say,
the thing is not finishing.
We get the
Like,
point.
Weekend's only strategy was to give miscreants money to foment violence on the day of election and suppress the voter turnout. He said that Wike has killed people. He abused him.
Okay, let's
He said, he even said it. He said, if you want to know the truth, go to YouTube. Where Wike said, you see on YouTube, go. He quoted the YouTube quote.
Okay. All right, let's take another story. Like, we've got to
we're
your
waiting
story.
for Wike's response to that.
We need it.
So I have, there's an human interest story. Go ahead.
Yes, so we have the United Kingdom has said that it's following closely our run-up to the presidential, legislative and gubernatorial elections in Nigeria. The UK's Minister of State for Development and Africa, Andrew Mitchell, in a statement yesterday said it was imperative that Nigeria holds free, fair and credible elections to consolidate its democracy and political stability. He says Nigeria matters to the UK and we're following the run-up to these elections and closely monitoring them. Over the last 2 months, I've met 4 of the presidential candidates and the chairman of INEC and emphasized our support for the process and our commitment to a strong relationship between our countries. And he goes ahead to say how vital it is for us to have free and fair elections. But he also says that if the UK is aware of attempts to subvert democratic processes at the national or state level in Nigeria, it will take action against those who engage in or incite electoral violence and other anti-democratic behaviors. And some of the sanctions would be preventing people from obtaining UK visas or imposing sanctions under our human rights sanctions regime. And I've been hearing conversations for and against this stance, like, are you our principal? Are you our headmaster?
Well, their country, they can choose not to give you visa.
Yeah.
I'm happy that, I think INEC was saying that over 140,000 election monitors are around and they'll be here to monitor the elections. Yeah. If you have come to TVC already and are going around to various media houses, just let them know that they're here to monitor the elections and ensure that things go smoothly. So in Imo State yesterday, something really bad happens. Some gunmen continued their nefarious activities. They burnt, set a woman ablaze. Grace Ungu on fire in Imo State. They also razed the houses of Imo State Commissioner for Youth and Sports, Mr. Emeka Okoronkwo, and the country home of the former commissioner under Okorocha's tenure, Professor Nnamdi Obiarare, who also served as Commissioner of Land Urban Planning during the Chief Ikedi Ohakem's administration. The hoodlums actually moved the homes of the DSS and burnt this woman to death beyond recognition. The state CID said they've already, they went in to take the woman's body to the mortuary and they've started intensive investigations to unravel the faces of these perpetrators. I really hope they find these people because, and I think by now we should have a lot of CCTV cameras across states, especially in the southeast. These things happen. Remember the guy that they all just accosted and shot in broad daylight. So we need in major highways, we need, we need a lot of CCTV cameras across many states. How many major roads could there be in certain areas?
You don't have CCTV camera in your banks. It is.
But I know I have a Lausa. That will allow us. I'm always afraid of doing anything wrong in that Lausa because there's cameras will catch you.
That's small local governments. I say you see the bank
In
where
banks.
they burnt. Do you have CCTV of who burnt it? I beg.
Let's move on.
So your network is not working. CCTV. How will CCTV work?
The Vanguard.
Please, I have to go back to this.
Which story?
He said that Wike is like a bus conductor.
Hey.
He talks like a bus conductor. That he's going to go and bob the APC governorship candidates.
Okay. Leave this evil. Please, it's too close to election for this kind of conversations.
We need violence-free.
Yes, violence-free.
Vanguard.
Vanguard.
Words we don't want.
Vanguard, please. What's going on in the bank? Naira redesign. Only old 200 notes reissued. CBN insists. We want peaceful polls in Nigeria. Please, I also want to take that story. Says EU observers. YFG borrowed 2.1 trillion in 2 months. And Naira swap mitigated ISOP and Boko Haram activities in the northeast, says Army. NNPCL confirms the rise in oil production to 1.6 million per barrel. Okay, which story are we taking?
Yes, let me take the EU observer. So, as Nigerians head to the polls on Saturday, the European Union Election Observation Mission in Nigeria yesterday said that the international community is interested in seeing a peaceful, fair, and credible election devoid of violence and irregularities. He says we have a clear message, we want peaceful elections, and I think that is something that everybody shares. We have spoken to political participants, we have met with judiciary, we have met with the civil societies, and we have met with EU delegations, and we got advice from them. We have other observers like ECOWAS, the Commonwealth of Nations, and American delegations. All of us are pulling towards one thing, and that is peaceful elections. This is not controversial, but it's really important because that is part of the evolution of Nigeria's democracy. And if we play our role well, then we'll be proud of it and so forth and so on. So peaceful, free, fair, peaceful elections.
By God's grace. All right, so finally, the Theatre Commander Northeast Joint Task Force Operation Hadin Kai Major General Ibrahim Ali has said that the Naira swap and the cash policy of the CBN has mitigated violent extremism in the Northeast. According to him, since the inception of this, the cashless economy, is that it has been a positive step, noting that it has actually helped reduce terrorist activity within that area. So that's some good news about this. But I guess everybody is agreeing that it's a good policy. We're just saying the way in which it was carried out could have been done better because many Nigerians have been affected. Okay, that is all we can take on today's paper review. When we come back, move on to our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So our hot topic today is really more about prophecies, predictions, and open endorsements by religious leaders. We've seen some from the churches, some from the mosques, some from different strata of society, giving all sorts of traditional rulers, giving all sorts of predictions and support and open support for certain candidates. What are your thoughts on this? Because in the last week or so, we've had quite a few religious leaders come out openly. Some have said, go for this candidate. Others have said it subtly. Some have said it and not said it. Others are staying on the fence or sitting on the fence. And people have come out to say, you have to come out. You have to speak out and say, which side do you support? What are your thoughts on this? Do you think it is necessary at all for religious leaders, either from the mosques or from the church, to openly endorse any candidate as we round up to the elections? That's really our conversation this morning. Let us hear your thoughts. You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweet. So there are two sides of this coin. Many have said religious leaders should be radical. You know, you have to put your foot down on one. Others are saying, I have multiple parties in my church, in my mosque. I have different people in different parties. I cannot openly endorse any over because I am a shepherd over all. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think they should speak up at this time, Mariam?
Okay, so let's just go to how, with Christianity, of course, I'll talk about that. And if you go through the Bible, and that is, of course, how a lot of our present-day pastors, priests, and religious leaders, they're taking sort of a cue from there. And we had it in the Bible times where prophets would come and they would prophesy. So they would hear from God, who would tell them, you know, what was going to happen politically. And it was not always an endorsement even. Sometimes it will be like a warning saying, because of your sins, this is the leader that you will have, and he will punish you. You will suffer under his regime or you suffer under his ruling. And then sometimes they would talk about another person and say, this person will be your king and he will do this, he will make things better for you. And some of these prophecies have caused some of their prophets, they would leave the communities they are. Some of them, it has cost them their lives when they come out to say this. So it's of great importance when our religious leaders come out to sort of support or endorse, because we believe that they are talking from God. This is the Holy Spirit that has ministered to them and asked them to give a message to the people. And that's how a lot of us see it. But there have been times also that we have heard people who have spoken at the altar and have said this is what they've heard from God, and it does not happen that way. Or you have pastors of different churches or priests of different churches say different things.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, and we have heard that our God is not a God of confusion, or the Holy Spirit is not. And then you now have different pastors saying everything. So now people don't take them as prophecies anymore, but more as a personal endorsement. And if that is the case, I believe because you're a shepherd who oversees people of different political leanings, do not be the person that endorses any particular political party. But teach the people what to look out for who it is, for whoever it is that they would like to vote for. What are our issues today? Who are the people that have the capacity to do this? And then even give an opportunity for them to sit and question and talk to these different people that are running for office. Open the floor for free and fair, conversation back and forth. But to endorse someone, especially if you know that it's a personal endorsement and not a prophecy from God, I think religious leaders should steer clear.
If it's personal endorsement where his wife, or maybe he himself in his bedroom and say, you know what, this is who I support, I believe in this person. You don't necessarily say it on the pulpit. You say it in your own personal capacity as a person. Would it be okay, this person my pastor believes in, but is it okay for you to also encourage them to vote for other people who they choose? You don't have to follow me, because sometimes once our pastor says this person, suddenly everybody just follows the person without even thinking. Is the flock mentality of let's just whatever the pastor says. But the truth is that even if you're a leader, there should be a way, don't you think, YK, that you as a person say, this is my own personal conviction, and I'm not asking you to vote this person because of me. You make your own decisions, but I'm still entitled to have my own personal choices, don't you think?
Yeah, but if I have my personal choice and I say it, it's inevitable that my flock may follow me because they admire me or they revere me or whatever. So I'm not sure that it's a bad thing. If that's how I believe or what I believe in. Okay, I want to endorse Morayo as the next president of Nigeria.
And you openly say it in church.
And I say it
in the mosque.
Or in my mosque. You don't have to follow me. But
our people are gullible.
No, it's
so,
not
for example, many pastors...
If you're asking me, what do I believe in? And you ask me, and I tell you, oh, this is what I believe in.
Yeah.
It is normal that you will follow me.
Yeah. So may I say that pastors are one of our biggest influencers, and as we know it now in modern times, is the influencing world. That is how we reach out to people. We have influencers for all sorts of things. And pastors, religious leaders today are one of the biggest influencers, and that is why you see politicians try to, sit with them because they understand the power that they have. But it is important that, the problem is not even about gullibility, it's just that we want, if you're a religious leader, to say, this is my personal conviction. For me and my own household, this is what we believe in. But we are afraid that some of them come and say this, their personal belief, as if it was something they heard from God. So if you believe that candidate A should be, and then another pastor who believes in God, is a Christian as well as you, says it's candidate B, which God are we hearing? Is God confused?
So the confusion that
we
Nigerians are complaining about.
The confusion, and can you remember this? There's this Catholic priest that they removed from his congregation. I can't remember his name.
I remember.
Mba? No, sorry.
Mbaka?
Mbaka. Yes.
Remember, because he was inciting the congregation.
Yes,
so the Catholic, they said, look, we are not religious, we are not political people.
Yes.
So if the church takes a stand, I'm not political, then the priest cannot. But these churches do not take stands as we are apolitical.
Oh, we've seen some churches take stands. Some churches have come out to and say, well, some pastors have said, this is who we are following. And they've come, and it's quite brazen. I mean, it's interesting for them to come out that way. But many have said, okay, because our own church is going this way, we're all going this way. We're all here. When a particular church totally condemned Buhari, totally. In fact, they said they tagged Buhari as the terrorist, Islamizing. They're going to Islamatize Nigeria. That, once he becomes president, everything is going to be Islamatized totally and completely. He said it on the pulpit. He said it totally on the pulpit. Yeah. And in fact, till now, he's still validating that, yes, actually, I told you. Because now that Buhari is coming up with this Naira policy, he said, I told you. This is part of their plans. And Nigerians will also go ahead based on what this pastor is saying. So now, on Sunday, many pastors somewhat subtly preached about it. On Friday, lots of imams are likely to also going to preach either subtly or confidently and brazenly to their viewer, to their flock, that this is where we are going. Now, the question is that right? Or should we allow people to make choices for themselves? Or are we still a people who go by what our leaders have told us? Because we always act as if, we're democratic setting, everybody has a right to choose. But Nigerians are gullible people. We do follow whoever our leader says we should follow.
But I don't want to say it as Nigerians are gullible. Nigerians can be influenced by different things and different factors.
Human beings,
and yes,
generally.
we're influenced. Yes, it's not necessarily just gullibility. If this is a person who has led you for so long and has helped you in your personal issues or your career issues, and every time he has given you advice, it sort of worked, or he says, I heard from God concerning this in your life, and this has worked. It is only normal that you would trust that person's judgment concerning maybe even major things like this. So for me, when I was growing up, especially like in Plateau State, I know that some of the churches would always say people should vote for Christian. People should vote for, someone like this, yes, your own. Or you go to some places, they'll say, vote for this person that comes from this particular tribe or this particular community, because this is your own brother. He understands your pain. So we've always had that. And I used to always find it...
That's selfish.
Yes, no, it was not selfish, because in their own case, they feel that these are the people that understand your problems and would come and do something about it. But, as I'm growing up and even becoming more exposed and seeing how politics works, I feel that we're doing a disservice to our people if we don't allow them to open their minds to all the other possibilities. We have seen people who we have said, because they're from your community, they're from your tribe, your ethnicity, they have become leaders and they didn't do anything. I want our religious leaders to use this huge influence that they have to teach people what to look out for. Not just based on their religion or based on their ethnicity, because it doesn't always work out that way. It has to be someone who can do the work, someone who has proved, over time, their capacity, their integrity, someone who you can point out. And, those are the issues.
And many have. In fairness, many have.
And those that have, to be honest, and those that have, I haven't even heard them endorse any one person.
Yes.
Those that talk about issue-based choosing have never really endorsed one person. But there are some that come out every time and they say these names, and then it doesn't quite work out as they have prophesied.
Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a few calls and hear your thoughts on this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Staying with us, we're still discussing if religious leaders should be endorsing political candidates, and we have with us on the call Shola from Ikorodu. Good morning, Shola. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morayo, you say this topic. Honestly, I've been expecting you to bring up this topic. As a matter of fact, honestly, it's not a good idea for a leader of the church to endorse any particular candidate for election. Now, let's look at it this way. If two members of a church are coming out to contest a position, and they are from different parties, who are you going to endorse?
Exactly.
And you see, Morayo, I appreciate that's your memory. You still remember 2015. Did you know that statement from that same man of God, I don't want to mention his name, affected his church that year and up to now? And you will know that this man is just coming out with hatred. He is an hatred. This is not normal spiritual. It's hatred to a particular candidate and the party. It's kind of unfortunate. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to mention names.
Yeah.
You see, if you have a candidate, you have your own personal candidate, you as a leader of a church, the best thing you could do for that person is to go to your secret place and pray for that person. If truly you pray and God answers. You see, I want to give you an example. By the special grace of God, by privilege, I am a minister of God. When I was nominated to be ordained in my church, I said, look, I'm not going to do this ordination until I hear from God. I went into prayer before God and man, whom I serve, 3 days marathon. On the 3rd day, God appeared to me. And you know, God will always appear to you in the form of your spiritual father. He appeared to me in the form of my spiritual father and anointed me. After prayer in the afternoon, I lie down on my bench in my shop. Then I was having a warehouse. And in a trance, not up to 5 seconds, and he anointed me. So, as a good leader, that is what is expected of you. If you have a particular candidate on your own, don't come out physically and say, this is the person. No, go into a corner and pray for him.
Yeah.
Except if you say, God said this is the person.
All right.
And even if you say it to me, I will still go.
Thank you very much, Shala.
You see, don't we expect too much of our religious leaders? Because I have noticed that the pastor will tell you how to breathe, how to do this. Don't do this.
Your marriage,
fast,
your children.
You know, so what I believe a religious leader is supposed to do is to pray. You go to church for prayer, whether it's deliverance or prayer, not for political influence, not to learn how to breathe.
You know why, we have actually handed over the responsibility of our lives to everybody else. So you know how I always say here on the show that we never take responsibility for anything as a people. It's always somebody's fault. You told me to go and do this. How do I have a marriage in this way? How do I have a successful marriage? How do I raise my children? It is the church's responsibility to teach me how to raise my kids, how to have how to have my mother-in-law in the house, how to be with my husband, how to relate to my friends, how to do business investment, because church will also do business events to help you to be. So we have handed over our entire life and being to somebody else, be it government. Everything is government's fault, it's church's fault, it's somebody's fault. So the truth is that it's part of the lack of taking responsibility as a human being. We Nigerians, as a person, we really prefer not to take responsibility. It's always somebody else's fault. Same thing we do to our pastors. So we are waiting for them to be the ones to tell us who to vote for. When in actual fact, we should be able to assess individually who we choose to vote.
That's what I'm saying. We are taking too much. Don't expect, when you go to church, you go to church or your mosque, either or, to be prayed for. From when I was a kid, when I used to go to church as a kid, the Methodists, and you know, what we did there was pray.
Yes.
Not ask for advice.
Counseling, yes.
Not for marriage counseling. You go to a church to give you marriage counseling. He's not a marriage counselor by profession. He's a pastor. He's a reverend.
Let me take this call from Ladi. Good morning, Ladi. Are you there from Lekki?
I'm here. Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please. If I can get some increase in volume.
Thank you. My opinion, please. You see, if we are believers, we are Christians. Really.
So can I get an increase in volume? I should say it on national TV. So that
You can't hear me?
I can't hear you. Yeah, go ahead now.
Okay. I said
Thank
if
you
are a
for increasing the
believer,
volume.
If you are a Christian and you believe in Christ,
Yes.
when Christ was on earth, he has no business with the worldly activities. So I don't know what pastors have with politics to that extent of coming to pulpit to tell people who they should vote for and who they should not vote for. I don't think it's their business at all. They should go and read their Bible. Yes, you can go and vote personally on your own with your family. But for you to come to the whole church to tell them that, oh, vote for this person, is this something made for one person? To me, it's taking too far. It's wrong. Pastors have no business with politics. Up to that.
All right.
They should go and read their Bible.
Thank you very much, Laddie.
So if you go and meet your pastor, should you go and meet your pastor and say, oh, who are you voting for? Because that's where the pastor gets confused. Because people go, pastor, so who are you voting for? And pastor says, oh, I'm voting for Miriam. That's who I'm going to vote for because pastor is voting for me. Don't ask your pastor anything.
Okay.
Don't give your pastor the responsibility that is not his own.
Miriam, let me come to you because we've seen all around the world where preachers, religious leaders, somewhat take a stand. You know, Martin Luther King, we've seen Louis Farrakhan, everybody, you know, when it comes to social issues, you know, it's time for us to fight for women, it's time for us to fight for black people, fight for this. There's always one thing, everybody takes a stand at some point. So do you see that we are at that precipice where we're saying, tell us where you are, or we don't go forward? You know, we need the shepherd to be very crystal clear. Where are we going? Yeah. Because you are the one that will be directing us all this while. We are now at that T-junction where we need you to go left or go right.
You know what? You know, INEC said something about this particular election. It says that this election would be about elections of the youth, that there's so many youths that have first-time registrants that have registered. And because of that, I feel also the expectations that they have, the sort of questions that's being asked is different and being asked even of our religious leaders. So for those who are old-timers, voters and everything, we sort of have gone through the ups and downs of this season. And we understand that, okay, in the end, it's really about me. But we have young people that are asking our religious leaders, see, tell us where you stand. Don't sit, for them, they see like when you don't say anything, it's either you're sitting on the fence, and when you do, if it does not align with who they think, you know, who they think should be voted for, then you're a traitor. And that's how young people are. Young people are fiery and bold and, you know, they want everything is black or white. Nothing is in between. And we have to understand that these are the times that we're in. But as a leader, you need to be careful not to fall into, I don't want to use the word trap, but, you know, until I get a better word, don't fall into that trap. It should be, what your job should be is to lead them, to encourage them, to ask the right questions, and also to encourage them to, and then when they choose who they want, and when they talk about who it is that they want to vote for, then the conversation should be on the reasons why. We should have an open space for discussing the for and against each person at that platform. I don't know of, you know, most of the churches, if they get to do that, if they even invite people to come and talk, you know, and ask them questions. I don't know if churches do that or if they just wait for a particular Sunday and say the Holy Spirit has ministered to them. So it's important that the leaders of today understand the young people are hot-blooded. They just want to know that you are with them or not for them. So but you are a leader. Just teach them the way to go.
Should a pastor say to his congregation, make sure you vote?
Yes. Yes,
Sure
do.
I think that's what most of them have done so far.
Make sure you get your
vote.
PVCs.
I think
you have to do that.
Many of them have reiterated that. Let me take this call, YK. It's been holding for a while. Good morning, are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
You're live.
Good morning. Mariah, good morning. Miriam and Sayende. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
You see, religion should be expunged from politics. What our religious leaders are doing is so wrong. It's so very wrong. Okay. Now, let me take us into the Bible. There was a particular time when the apostles, they wanted to, you know, there was an issue on food sharing and all that. Okay, politics is all about, you know, sharing resources. And then, you know, we have spirituality. You know what the apostles said? Hey, guys, we're not going to be entangled in all of these things. Just select, now, I'm using the word, appoint people among you. We are not going to be entangled with, we want to concentrate on spiritual matters. You see, what Nigerian pastors are doing is so wrong. They have entangled themselves with serving tables instead of concentrating on preaching the gospel, which is the major responsibility. Because the truth is, you see, the church is like, the society. We have mixed multitude. We have different kind of people. We have people that support Labour Party. We have people that support APC, in one congregation. So now, if you as a leader now comes out to say, vote this person, you are causing anarchy. And that's why we have a lot of, as a leader, your responsibility is to teach us, like INEC will teach us, like the government will teach us, go and vote. And that's what the Bible says. You see, a lot of charlatans, a lot of how do they call them in the Bible says, All
right, thank you very much, Shem. But there's also this need to be liked. When you're a pastor, when you're a pastor or a shepherd of anybody, even an imam, you want the people to like you, not just people, because people like you, the adults, can look at you objectively. But the young ones who make it like a huge percentage of your congregation, you want them to like you. Yeah. And when they like you, how do you get them to like you? You say what they want you to say.
And that's what I'm saying. If I'm a pastor and I say, go and vote, then you ask me, who should I vote for?
I say, just vote your conscience.
Good.
That's not enough.
I think that is where they get trapped.
Yeah, but they don't
want... Where these pastors get trapped.
They don't want to hear that, go vote your conscience. They want you to tell them this way because they want to see either I like you, I want to show you that I like you, I don't like you. Because they will drag you on social media if you say the person they don't want you to support.
But, I said earlier that we had, you're a pastor, you're a leader, and you're Bible-based. You must have heard all the stories and read the stories of prophets that lost their lives. And there's some prophets, if we talk about Jonah, who was swallowed for three days in the belly of the whale, he was given a message to go and tell the people. When he saw the message that God gave him, he's like, what? I can't tell these people this message, oh God, please send someone else. And he was trying to escape from giving that message. So pastors have to understand that if I'm hearing from, if it was, I think, troubling times, and he was trying to, I can't even remember the exact message, but it was troubling times, and the message was, God was trying to tell him the message would have been something that would punish them for their behavior, and he didn't want to have to tell those people that, give that message. But I'm saying that a pastor today should not be moved by being liked, should not be moved by the followership or the trolling on social media or even the praise and adoration on social media. And as we know with social media, it changes. Today they love you, tomorrow they hate you. So you have to have a personal conviction or you have a spiritual conviction. You have to know who it is that you stand on. And so if God has given you a message, then give your message knowing that there are consequences, knowing that there are repercussions, knowing that people may receive it anyhow that they receive it. Yeah. But you are happy in the fact that you have listened to your God. But the only thing what I'm still arguing here is, are we really hearing from God, or are we just putting messages out there for followership, for controversies? Because this love of social media thing now, it has affected everyone. There used to be a time that it was just for the young people, but it's in churches now, it's in homes now, where everybody's just doing something so that they can get love, they can get attention. Okay. And if whatever it is you're doing as a pastor, if it's not based on God, if it's not based on the word of God, if it's not based on prophecy from God directly, do not involve yourself in it. And if you do involve yourself in it, then be willing to, face whatever consequences there are. All right, let me take this call.
Sorry, you've been holding for a while. Good morning, are you there?
I'm there. Good morning.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Thank you for this topic. In fact, my faith is this. I'm a Christian by God's grace. It's unfortunate they want to drag the name of the church in the mud, but nobody can drag the name of church in the mud. By their dressing, we shall know them. You will never hear Baba Deboye mention anybody's name. I watched a video clip where a pastor who called himself a pastor is praying for somebody to get wings. And he went to the extent of mentioning names and paraphrasing, saying that he saw one in the Bible. Where did he see Japan in the Bible? Our pastors will be very careful. And invariably, the only one that has a Christian name, we know him. All I pray is that wind is praying that the man will get. We'll see how far that wind will take that man on Saturday. They want to spoil Christianity and what Christianity stands for, but it's not possible. They are on their own. No.
Thank you very much, Mr. John. But you see, we've seen that sometimes it's important for religious leaders to guide and direct because they are the ones that hear, as you say, from God. And the conversation is, are they really hearing? That's debatable. But the truth is, it is expected that they did hear. And if your religious leaders say, okay, let us go this way in the interest of our country, if they are insisting on doing that, therefore, do we see it as selfish or do we see it as a collective good? Because some people will look at it because people have played the religious card, they've played the ethnic card, because not just religious leaders, even not just religious leaders, but we have the tribal leaders, the Obas are also, everybody, traditional leaders are also playing their own card, saying, it is this person or it is that person. Various tribes are also doing that. So who is fooling who? Why are we therefore putting our pastors under pressure, say that don't choose, when really every other person is choosing? Tribes are choosing, ethnic groups are choosing, various groups are choosing. Why shouldn't religious leaders also choose?
Musicians are choosing?
Musicians are choosing, yes. Musicians are choosing. Everybody has practically made a choice. Most Nigerians now are coming out, am I this or are you that? So why are we therefore being so critical of religious leaders who also have a right to choose?
My own brothers are not choosing, Sha.
Let's take it.
Okay, so
we have to find out.
I would say that the reason why pastors are choosing or are asked not to choose, we had a previous caller that said that you can be a pastor over a flock and you have two candidates of different parties. So you have people even within your congregation and they have different political leanings and then you're choosing. It just seems that you sort of choose one side and neglect the other side. So you become the pastor for one group of people over another. Or here we are both your sons and you have chosen to, or both your daughters, and you have chosen this daughter over me. And another reason why I personally feel that pastors should stay out of this is because of the different diverse prophecies over time. If we had a precedent where every time this particular person would speak, that is exactly how it would happen. People would have a confidence and trust that this person is really speaking from something above or from a power above the ordinary. But most of the times, we're talking about people who are saying different things. And it just shows that these are their personal convictions. And is it what is it based on? Is it based on that this person is in my church? Is it based on, this person is my childhood friend? Is this based on the issues on ground? So the reason we're asking pastors not to get involved is because so far, it doesn't look like there's one powerful voice saying to them, this is who it should be. And every pastor across the nation agrees, but we have pastors across the nation, different people that they are calling, and the Christians are wondering, let me just go with my own personal conviction. Let me pray to my God, and whatever he tells me, and seeing, and dissecting the different candidates before me, I will make my choice.
Let me take Emeka. Emeka from Asaba. Good morning, are you there? Oh, I'm so sorry, we kept you. Let me have a message from BC says, the priest of old had a say with the government of the day. Please, they had a hand in upholding and ensuring the government did well for their people. They were supposed to get involved. According to her, she thinks religious leaders should get involved. So they are human beings just like celebrities who have made their stance known publicly. They have a right to declare who they want. They aren't forcing anyone to join them, are they? Just like people will naturally follow celebrities for their choice, people can choose to follow them too. So the point is, yes, you have that power over people. But the question is, there are different kinds of people under your flock. There's the white, there's the black, there's the Chinese, there are different people. So when a Creflo Dollar says, we are voting Obama, for example, forgetting that maybe in his church he has
conservative.
various non-blacks in his society. So these are things that people have done.
Obama was not a black or white thing. Whites came together to vote for Obama as well.
That was just
But a lot of the black communities also stood firm in support of Obama. So the black community could have said, we're not interested, but it was one of their own. And they and their pastors, their churches, everybody came together and said, we are supporting.
And to also say that maybe the pastors do not force their congregation to vote for who they choose. They're right. We're not saying that they force them, but we also understand how powerfully influential they are.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, they have influenced you in so many things, your career, your personal life. It's just okay that when they would say something, you would be influenced to do exactly as they say.
The last election, because someone talked about Pastor Adeboye, but the last election, the vice presidential candidate went to go and talk.
That's his church. That's his church.
But he stood on the pulpit.
No, that's his own church. That's a different thing. But we have to wrap up on this. That's all we can take, really, because we have a guest who's on the phone. But thank you very much. We have to wrap up on this. But in a nutshell, the truth is that people will make their choices. People are individuals. They can express themselves, but they must also do that understanding that there are different people. You are leading different kinds of people. So you should also be very careful in pronouncing your leanings, especially on the pulpit. That's all we can take on that segment. When we come back, bring in our Let's Talk guest. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So before we bring in our guest, there are a few comments on social media we have to take. Mariam, you have a few?
Yeah, so Friday Oke Elam says, my position on this topic is that it's not correct for religious leaders to endorse candidates publicly, reason being that religious leaders will not be held accountable by their followers if the candidates fail in their duties in the long run after winning. And then Michael Labinjo says, however, the way some clerics demonize other candidates and paint their preferred candidates as angels is what worries me, and I consider that to be very wrong. You can endorse a candidate without demonizing other candidates. Then we have another message saying that we seem to be dwelling solely on pastors. The imams do it as well, especially in the north. They always tell the mosque on the eve of election, and 90% of the congregants obey. Someone says this happened in a new political party was formed just a few days to election. The imam told the mosque to vote for the new party, and they voted the party with 80% success.
Yeah, Mr. Nice says, not handing over entirely, but I will call it seeking religious guidance in matters of our life. Like it is in Islam, it is the way of life and doesn't leave any aspects of our life.
Okay. All right, let's therefore welcome our guest. So we'll be having on the show the national women leader of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Dr. Betta Edu. She will be speaking on the Women Manifesto of the APC and the Asiwaju presidential bid. Hello, madam, are you there? Thanks for joining us. Okay, I'm told we've had a disconnection. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're having connection issues with our guests, so we're just going to continue with our previous topic until we're able to get another connection to her. Let's take a few more comments on social media before we move on.
So Emmanuel says, leadership is about influencing others, just like I can influence the choice of those I lead by selling a candidate's good qualities. So can a clergy who is also a leader, but not this talk of God has spoken to me when they all missed to see COVID coming. B. Orch says, please, okay, this I think is responding to something and I don't know what it is. Ezekiel says, the future is in our hands if we all rise and do the needful. Ezekiel Ibok writes from Oro Nation. Let us all rise as believers and get involved directly or indirectly in politics. Directly, we run for political offices, and indirectly, when we encourage godly people to join politics, and also when we go out and fulfill our civic responsibility, which is to vote. Roller Care, let me take one more, says it isn't right for religious leaders to endorse anybody, but it's right for religious leaders to speak the truth. So many fake prophecies awaken the brains of sensible youths. A religious leader said in 2015 that we would say, all's well that ends well, but it's worse.
So just like, some.
Yeah, I was going to take, Jojo said, oh yes, Bishop Oyedepo said vote right, and don't argue with anyone, cast your ballots. He said, my church has founders of parties, so everyone should vote right. Exactly. If you want peace, vote right.
Exactly. So I think really the truth is that pastors are human beings just like us. And I think it was BC that was echoing that they're human beings like us. They have opinions too. They are also part of the society. So they are going through exactly the same thing we are also going through. So they're entitled to an opinion. But it is where the opinion is said. That's the conversation. That are we categorically saying all go this way, or we just continue to advise and admonish our members to make the right choices? Now, so that, I mean that's pretty much.
The conversation is really: is it an opinion or is it a word from God? That is the conversation.
Yeah,
and
people should be confident to say this is my own personal opinion. It's not that I heard from God.
I remember one pastor. He's late now. Was it the last election that he predicted who will win? He made that noise. Everybody, papers, everybody was carrying it. And then another person entered.
Anyway.
And everybody went to the pastor. What
happened? I
don't even know what he said.
I can't remember the pastor you're talking about.
I
can't remember the pastor.
I will tell you when
we have very, we have very short memories in this our country. So I've forgotten. But I probably like to wrap up on this. And but the truth is, we don't want anybody to incite violence. That's more important because our religious leaders do have that influence on us. Whatever happens on Saturday, everybody makes their own decision, and let us just accept the results. Whoever becomes the president is fine. Nigeria as a nation must stand and will stand. And especially those that live outside the country. Many of them sometimes try to incite and try to get their opinions, which is fine. But we must ensure that our religious leaders are human beings, they're part of the society, they have their own opinions, but let us try really hard not to incite. I'm told our guest is back now, but we're having a Zoom issue.
Oh, so is she back?
Yeah, she's back now. So I'm told we now have the national women leader of the All Progressive Congress, Dr. Betta Edu, back with us. Good morning, madam. Are you there?
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yes, we lost connection with you earlier. So you just completed 36 states of campaign.
Wow.
Tell us how that went and what's your entire summation at the end of the electioneering you've been doing for the past few months?
36 states.
Well, I think it has been awesome, and by the day candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the presidential candidate, has grown in support base across the entire country. There is no single state he has not been to. For Taraba, where we did not have the rallies for some concerns which we are trying to resolve so we can have the rally tomorrow. But basically, we've been to all the states, 37 states. We've even had over 14 town hall meetings outside the 37 rallies that I've held. So I say 37 rallies because we have done Lagos twice. It's been a wonderful experience. Nigerians have been all out on the streets, especially people at the grassroots and those who indeed know the track record of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. They've been out there doing their best to see that they support the party and they vote APC in the coming election.
Okay.
I have to say that, unfortunately, we don't have the video so people can see, but you have been, for a lot of people who have been following most of the electioneering campaigns for all the parties, for APC, your face is quite prominent. You know, I've been wondering, who's that lady that ties her head tie and brings the hair to the front? You know, I've been quite curious to talk to you. And I would like to know what the plans for women are by the APC. What are the points, strategic policies that APC has planned and the the incoming, the presidential candidate, Bola Ahmed Tinubu / Shetima campaign, what are the plans that he has for women when they come in?
I think he has been very clear with his plans, action plan for women in Nigeria. First and foremost, he stated very clearly that he is going to actually give women the 35% affirmative actions which they want in terms of appointments to Federal Executive Council, in terms of the number of appointments into boards and parastatals government. Women will be right in front. He was also very sure to inform Nigerian women that they will be protected at all costs. In terms of employment, women would also have the center stage, just the same way he did when he was the governor of Lagos State. All round, at the grassroots, women will benefit immensely from his government because his whole policies and interventions will be targeted at women and the vulnerable groups. So across board, women have the hope that Bola Ahmed Tinubu, when he becomes the president, he is going to do very well for women. He's done this before in Lagos. Remember, he started the training running with a woman as his deputy governor. At the same time, he was the first person that appointed a woman to head the judiciary in Lagos. He was the first one who appointed a woman to head the civil service in Lagos. These are track records which he has laid as a governor, and he will do even much more in Nigeria as the president. Of course, he has a wife very supportive of other women, and she has been part of the campaign council across the country. So very, very positive and confident that with both of them and Kashim Shettima, who has also a very wonderful track record as concerns empowering women, in core north, where they're very conservative, he was able to give 4 women positions in his cabinet back then when he was the governor. So this shows that these people understand the role that women play in the development and governance, and they're ready to work with the women to achieve new goals.
It's a bit muffled. We're trying really hard to hear you properly, I guess because it's a phone call, but we'll keep trying to struggle. I would ask you, how effective do you think rallies are towards elections? Because many feel that people just gather together. Yes, they show some love, but many of them may not have PVCs. Many of them may not even show up on Saturday. What are your thoughts on the effectiveness of rallies? And do you think it will help your candidate win on Saturday?
Rallies are not the final solution, right?
Yes.
However, it does motivate your followers. It attracts the followers to what we do.
It's muffled. We can't hear you. I'm so sorry, Dr. Betta. It's muffled on TV. We can't hear you. I do apologize. We'd have to disconnect that call and see if we can get you back on Zoom. But let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we see if we can get our guests back. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. I think, unfortunately, we don't have our guests, so we just have to go back to more comments on the previous topic. Oh, I'm told we have our guests back, actually. Good morning. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, fantastic. Perfect. I do apologize. I thought we were not back. So there's a question for you. I was asking about rallies. I was saying that how effective are rallies? We've seen many people gather across the country. Will it translate to vote on Saturday? That's the question.
So 2 things, and I say yes, rallies are effective. They might not be the final solution, but they are very effective. Number 1, they tend to boost the morals of your supporters. Number 2, they attract more persons to support your party and get involved in the electoral process. Number 3, it creates an opportunity for the candidate to be able to reel out his plans for Nigerians to a larger audience. So you know definitely that if you just write an action plan and you publish it, very few people will read it. Very few people will get a copy of it. But on the flip side, if you go ahead and have a rally, at that rally point, you have the opportunity to meet millions and millions of persons, and you engage with them and tell them what you plan to do. And so those who are undecided, those who are on the fence, and even some decided voters might change their minds. I've seen people say, oh, I never knew the candidate was like this. I never knew I heard him speak here, and I think I'm going to vote for him. So all of those things are part of the benefits of the rally. However, that's not to say that that's in finality the best way to get all the numbers of votes that you need.
Okay,
so really, it's important, but it's not the solution, the final solution.
All right, go ahead, Wake.
Yeah, how do you engage with them? Because from the way I see it, it's on the stage and the audience is off the stage. They are on the ground. So do you manage to engage with them one-on-one? Because it's still, I still feel there's a disconnect at rallies.
So the point is, you are engaging with them by talking to them. They're listening to you. And in most cases, they are very responsive. So as you're talking, they are responding, they are listening to your plans, they are chanting, they are cheering, they are connecting to you, right? And that's what a rally does.
Okay.
So we are using that as part of our strategy.
Okay, I know you answered questions on the plans he has, your candidate has for women earlier. But I wanted for someone who was with him around almost all the states across the country, how healthy and strong would you say your candidate is? Because many are saying, this man, is he strong enough? Is he agile? You were with him for almost 36 states. What would you say is his strength level like?
I will say this. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is stronger than most young people in Nigeria today. I'm saying this with all due respect to everyone, including my humble self. You know, before the main campaign rallies and town hall meetings started, I saw a lot of things on the internet. I saw a lot of things. You see pictures, Photoshop, all sorts of things. And even as the campaign started, I would come off from the stage and go back home and listen to something that has been doctored on the internet, saying things that our candidates never said during the campaign. Never, ever said. And I wonder whether it's the same campaign I went for, or there's another campaign somewhere with a different candidate somewhere saying those fake things, which they put out there in circulation. I told you, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has shown up consistently for the last 5 months without a break. He holds meetings, he goes for the rallies or town hall meetings in the morning, and then after it, he goes for debriefing, and then he holds meetings with PCC, with different stakeholders, with different consulting groups and the rest of it, sometimes up until 3 a.m., 4 a.m. As of that time, me, who is even a young person in my 30s, my head is banging and like I'm looking for sleep to just lay down for a few minutes. He's still out there talking and expressing himself. And the next morning at 8 o'clock, he shows up at the next rally. He's not traveling out to go and stay for 2 weeks, come in, do one rally, go out, stay for 2 weeks. No, it's inconsistent. That shows strength, that shows capacity, that shows ability to govern this nation.
Tell us about his plans for young people. You know, we heard what you said earlier about youth, about women. What of young people? What are his plans and his team's plan to engage young Nigerians?
A whole lot. I'm sure if you carefully go through the entire action plan, it revolves around the young people. So even outside the portion where they wrote for young people, the entire booklet is basically for young people. He was specific enough to say at least 3 persons in his cabinet, his Federal Executive Council, will be under 40. And at least 9 persons will be under 45, giving young people a seat at the table. He has said 20% of all the power startups will be headed by young people. He has equally gone ahead to make different provisions under digital economy, how he's going to use IT to revamp the economy that will be driven by young people. He has also mentioned about innovative hubs across the country in the 6 geopolitical zones that are all young people centered. As it concerns education, which affects the young people, he has stated very clearly that he's going to provide student loans for young people, so you don't have to sit at home and say you can't go to school because they cannot afford it. He understands what it is to be a child of a market woman. He knows what he did in Lagos State for the educational sector, and he sponsored their WAEC and everything free of charge, which is still going on till today. Yeah. And he wants to replicate that in Nigeria. Indeed, Nigeria should, with 2 arms wide,
all right. We have very little time. Let me get a few more questions in for you. Go ahead, Mary.
So, as leading up to Saturday, there are always controversies here and there. I would like you to tell us personally, since you are personally within the campaign that's been going on, what would you say the relationship between the current president, Muhammadu Buhari, and the flag bearer for the APC is? What sort of relationship do they have, and does he have the support of the president of Nigeria?
He has 100% of the support of the president of Nigeria. They are friends, they are political allies, and they have been together in this whole democracy and the entire, I would say, political space for a while, a long while. So the president has been through over 8 rallies since we started. And he has openly told Nigeria, this is your next president. This is the incoming president. There's nobody as passionate about this country as this man. I believe he's able to fix it. I feel like Bola Ahmed Tinubu is passionate about democracy, right? However, you must know that beside any king, you have people around the king who would want to show some powers or pursue some personal interest. And that's what we see playing out. That's what we're seeing on a day-to-day basis. Okay. And we are working towards overcoming that.
Dr. Betta, you're the national women leader for the APC. What are your final words to members of your party?
This is our time to bet a new Nigeria. APC members, please, from this minute, if you have not started already, go back to your polling unit, go back to your ward, go back to your village, go back to your local government, and let us go and deliver. Canvass door to door. Tell them of the track record of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Tell them of the track record of Senator Shetima, and tell them that he's ready to do it again. If Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu doesn't do well in 4 years, which I can bet my life on that he will do well, then you have another chance to replace him. But trust me, Nigerians, you will thank me for voting Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president.
Thank you very much, Dr. Betta Edu, the national chairman, women leader for the APC. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It was a pleasure having you. That is all we can take on today's show. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.